AccuQuilters, welcome to AccuQuilt Live. I'm Pam Heller, AccuQuilt's cutting expert. Thanks so much for joining us today. Emily's in the house. How are you, my friend?
I am great, doing great. How are you?
Doing well, except for the fact that you did tell me it was snowing outside.
I know.
So,
Yeah.
I know. Hey, give us an update on Reba.
I picked her up the other day. I'm so excited.
Yes.
I haven't tried her out myself yet, but based on the scrap test of fabric that they used to try it out,
Yeah.
she does like multiple sizes of zigzag stitches. I'm so excited.
Best $12 you ever spent.
Seriously.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. All right, where is everyone watching from? Margaret is watching from Kentucky, and Jennifer is watching from Iowa, which is, I bet it's cold and rainy there. Oh, it's a lovely day in Valley Springs, California. Good job, Camille. We're glad. Somebody said hi from LA, and I said, say hi to Mason, because he lives there. All right, here are the newest projects from our countdown video. First, we have this really fun one from Bonnie B. What a great way to just bust up your scraps and just squares for days, squares and rectangles. Really pretty. I like that, Bonnie.
Yeah, the layout's gorgeous.
Next, we have a quilt that Donna C. made for her sister-in-law while her sister-in-law was going through chemotherapy.
Oh,
So look at how beautiful this is. So strips, and then Emily, did you know we have a ribbon die?
I did.
Yeah, so what a beautiful tribute, Donna C. Oh, it looks so snuggy warm.
Lovely.
All right, and then last we have Vivian L. made this really fun quilt. So this is so fun because she used a cube and she used half square triangles and quarter square triangles, and it's beautiful. And mostly, Vivian, I love that you have a pool.
Yeah, that
need
looks
to
like
go
a
visit
really
Vivian.
nice place to be right now.
All right, here's my photo of the day. This is not me, just in case anybody wondered. These are bell-bottom pants. So we're talking about the peace sign today. So the question of the day is, what is something you wore every day as a teenager that is now considered vintage? So for me, every day as a teenager, I wore hip huggers.
Okay.
Bell-bottom hip huggers every single day. And I just thought they were cool, right? Right? Is there something vintage that you look for, Emily, because you're not old enough to be vintage?
Okay, now that I think about it, and they're coming back today, you know those cute little butterfly hair clips?
Oh,
I used to wear those every single day, rows of them, kind of like Lizzie
Yes.
McGuire did in her
Yes.
hair. And yeah, I think those are they've made a resurgence now. And I
Sure.
think that means it's vintage, right? If it goes away and comes back.
Yeah, it comes back. So in the comments today, we want to know, what did you wear that was vintage that's now considered, or what you wore every day that's now considered vintage? All right, don't forget to pick up our Go Grandmother's fan die. It is our March die to try, and it's only available at accuquilt.com for one more week. And a couple of weeks ago, we showed you how to make this block. So this week, last week there was a grunge sale at the Celtic Quilter, which is our store here. They carry our product. And I went and bought, Emily, you're gonna love this. So my Katie, she loves like greens and like really kind of dark colors kind of thing. So I got 3 colors of green grunge that have kind of gold tint in it. And then I got the white grunge with the gold circles. And I'm gonna make a serpentine pattern.
How
for,
cool.
For Katie for Christmas.
Oh, I can't wait.
Tell.
I hope you'll do a show and tell for that.
It'll be super fun. And I really, truly bought the fabric knowing that I was gonna use the grandmother's fan die.
Yeah. Oh,
So, I know. I'll show you progress. All right, it's Wednesday, so of course we have a promo for you today. We're gonna give you 40% off dies, cubes, and cutters. That excludes the Go Big, but in a minute, just hang on. The code you wanna use is March 40, because it is March Madness. And it is March Machine Madness. So if you're looking for the Go Big, which is the cutter I use every single day, you can take $200 off by using the code SAVE200. Remember, quilters, you can only use one code per order, right?
Yes.
Okay. Today I'm going to give away one of our Go Peace Sign dies. Be sure to register for future events on our AccuQuilt event page for your chance to win. By registering, you're going to receive event emails and notifications that events are going live. That way you will never miss an exciting show and a tutorial. Emily's going to announce the winner of our registered viewer at the end of the show. So we're excited about that. All right. Be sure to spring into quilting and register for our Spring into Quilting Sweepstakes. You can register for any of our live events to be entered into weekly drawings. Plus, you can earn the chance to win $500 in Accuquilt reward points. The sweepstakes started yesterday, and it runs all through April 26th. So every time there's a live event, register, and you'll be in the running for a weekly prize and the grand prize. All right, we are going to make this really fun Peace and Love table runner. It's a fun, whimsical project that you could totally make in a weekend, and I actually made in an afternoon, okay? Be sure and download the free pattern at accuquilt.com. And we're going to talk about this pattern and why I designed it the way that I designed it, because I think it's super fun and fast and easy. All right? So let's take a look at our peace sign die. I have so many fun things to show you today. All right. So this is it's an applique die, so be sure to pre-fuse your fabric before you cut the shape. We have several different kinds of fusible available on our website now. So think about if you're getting applique shapes, throw some in your cart. You can always cut up to 4 layers of pre-fused cotton, which is what I'm going to do. In one pass through the cutter, normally you can run 6 layers, but pre-fuse the fabric before. This die is on a 6x6 die board, so it's going to fit through any of our Go cutters, including the Go Me. All right, so let us cut one, and then when I'm done, I'm going to show you the free embroidery files that go with it, okay? So I've pre-fused my cotton, and I'm just going to use yellow. This was such a great scrap buster kind of project. You could use different colors if you wanted to, all right? Today I'm going to use my Go Big $200 off. You could actually run 2 smaller dies through in one pass. There we go.
So fun.
All right, give it a little love, slide, don't lift. Now, quilters, I want you to know that I save all of my fabric that I have pre-fused, because sometimes I'm looking for the center for a flower or some tiny little piece, and so I save all of this, my pre-fused, all right? So here's our little, look how fast we cut that. I can't even imagine, right, trying to do that by hand, right? Because especially if you have the little pieces that come out of the center, all right? Now, let's show you real fast the embroidery files. These are free downloadable files from Accuquilt.com. So it comes with 3 different stitches. This is the blanket stitch, and look how fun this is. Then we have some from our good friends at V-Stitch that are for purchase. And this one kind of gives this little, this is the Motif Stitch. Actually, this is one of our free ones. And then look at this. I love this one. This was super cute. This embroidery file came out after I had already created the pattern. Otherwise, I would have totally embroidered that on our table runner.
Absolutely.
Now look at this.
Aw.
Peace on Earth. And then this one is super fun because it's just all those bright colors.
How cute.
Our good friends at V-Stitch, they always keep us going here.
They're
and some more examples. So these are for purchase. They're available at the Accuquilt website.
And speaking of embroidery, Pam, Linda's wondering if we could show her how to pre-fuse the cotton, but isn't there, I think we've got a video out there for that.
We do. In fact, if you go to the product page for the peace sign die and scroll down, scroll down, scroll down, there is a video on how to embroider, and we show you how to, we pre-fuse the back, just use fusible to the back of your fabric, and we cut some for you, and then we show you how to embroider it.
Right, and you do have to have the appropriate embroidery machine to do so.
You do. And if you didn't have an embroidery machine, I didn't have one at home, so I actually didn't embroider through my peace sign. I just appliqued it because it's going to be a table runner. You could do Raj quilting, you could use stitch from your domestic machine, whatever you want to do?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great question. All right, so here is our embroidery files. Now, here is one of my blocks that I've already made. And the center here, you're going to need a 6-inch finished square. Shape number 1 from our 12-inch cube finishes to how big, Emily?
The
Shape number 1 from the 12-inch cube.
shape number 1 from the 12 inches, is that a 6?
Yep, a 6-inch finished.
Yes.
This is a great cube to use. I use it quite a bit because I like bigger blocks. And Emily, is this part of our 40% off our March 40?
The 12-inch cube?
Yes.
Sure
How
is.
much is it?
It's usually $309.99. It's going to come down to all the way to $185.99 today. So it's a
Great day
great
to
time to
get
get that 12-inch cube.
Yep. All right, I just need 2 more for my project, so I'm just gonna have 2 layers. We have tons of videos on our Facebook page and YouTube pages on how to use the cubes and all the shapes in the cubes.
Yeah.
All right.
So fun. And we're already inspiring people, Pam. Julie says she has material designed by one of the ladies that was on Brady Bunch, and she's going to use it to create this pattern.
Okay, will you share that with us? Use the hashtag AccuQuiltBuild and share it with us. I want to see that.
I do too. I think that's going to be so
Okay,
much fun.
and while I'm pulling this off, Emily, tell us did people wear when they were kids that are now vintage?
Absolutely. So we have, of course, bell bottoms.
Bell bottoms every day.
Classic, Miss Janie. Judy also wore, in addition to bell bottoms, mini skirts.
Oh, my father, I was the youngest and only girl. There was no mini skirts at my house.
No mini.
My father totally forbid that. Which
know.
you would have thought I would have for sure worn mini skirts, but I didn't. Okay, what else?
Deborah wore a ladybug pin.
Oh, very fun, yes.
Maybe one of like the group's ladybugs.
Yes.
Love that. Halter tops from Tony.
Halter tops back in the day.
That was classic.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, Bonnie used to wear platform shoes.
Oh, I did too. And then I got tall, and then I stopped wearing them. All right.
I think platforms are back now too.
Are they now? I think so too. I think I see them. All right, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to turn my block on point, and I'm just going to iron down my peace sign, okay? And I'm going to use my little shovel iron. You could use your big iron to do this. But look at how fast, well, first of all, how fast I cut one. Look at that. Don't get all, I was super excited about this. And then how easy it is to just iron the shape down. Look at that.
I love those little Clover mini irons.
I have one by my sewing machine every day.
Great.
Now, here at the studio, I often knock mine over here during our AQ Lives, but that's all right. Put it in a mason jar. Whoever taught us that, that was brilliant. All right, so I'm going to do this. And don't forget all of these applique shapes, whether it's the peace sign or any of the others, we have those 3 embroidery stitches, right, that are free from Accuquilt.com.
We sure do.
Okay.
Yeah, and they're so much fun. They just give so much personality to the applique.
They do. They do. They do. All right, while I iron this down, Emily, tell us what else people are wearing now that it would be considered vintage or
Sure
what they did
thing.
wear.
Yeah, Cheryl midriff.
Oh, that was such a bad fashion statement. But yeah, midriffs were all the rage.
Okay, and I might need an explanation. Okay, I've heard of hot pants. What are hot pants?
Oh, hot pants were really tight shorts, like volleyball shorts.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and they were often bright colors. Again, not the best fashion statement. But hot pants, yeah, for a long time.
Oh, I love that.
That's so funny. And when I was a kid, lots of layers of things.
Yeah.
You know, lots of jewelry and layers and, you know, if you didn't walk down the hall and dangle, you know, make noise as you walked, you weren't wearing enough stuff. All right, so now I have pre-fused mine 2 blocks that I'm going to sew the cornerstones and sashing to. All right, now while I'm going to finish doing this, because I just saw that I didn't get all the way there. Hey, don't forget, on Friday, Eric and I are having a special event. March 25th at 12 noon Central Time. It's called Accuquilt Madness. Emily, are you March Madness? Have you been watching basketball?
I have never been a big basketball fan, but my friends are, so I've been watching them all get their brackets busted, and it's an anxiety that I choose not to involve myself with.
Okay, well, I've been watching tons of basketball because it's my time. I just love to watch it. And as far as bracket busting goes, in the quilting world, it doesn't matter, but Oakley chose some of my teams, and she chose St. Peter's, which was a total upset because they are the peacocks, and she likes peacocks. So my bracket was okay there for a few minutes. But anyway, Eric and I are going to have a battle for the best quilt block. I know, we have a referee who has a whistle and everything, and it's going to be tons of fun. So be sure to join us Friday at 12 noon Central Time. Make sure you register for the chance to win prizes. All right, so now that my blocks are sewn, I'm going to show you how to cut the border strips and cornerstones that go around the block, all right? And on here, this is super cool because there is a process. And I am all about making things faster and easier and more accurate. So what I need around this block are 1 inch finished strips. So we're gonna cut 1.5 inch strips, and then my block is 6.5 inches. It finishes at 6. What I'm gonna do is I'm going to cut my fabric the widest part first. So I'm gonna use my 6.5 inch strip die. Good job, thanks guys. 6.5 inch strip die, and then I'm gonna show you how to turn them to make the 1.5 inch strips. Because cutting strips is probably one of the hardest things quilters have to do.
Oh yeah.
Right? I mean, it's just craziness. So what I've done is I have my 2 colors. I have pink and purple. You could totally change up the colorway, though I had that really fun bright fabric that I really wanted to showcase. So these were the colors that I chose. Sometimes Oakley had a hand in this. Sometimes I let her help me pick fabric. And she's like, oh, Lola, let's do this. I said, oh, okay. So here we go. Now I'm cutting the 6.5 inch strips first. And while I do that, Emily, tell us, what are people wearing when they were kids?
Absolutely. And somebody actually had a really, really good idea that I'm wondering if this is possible. Can you place one, so this is like the peace sign embroidery.
Right.
What if you fused one piece on top of the other, turning it 90 degrees to make a wheel?
Okay, I'm gonna show you this. Here, why we do this.
I thought that was such an interesting idea.
Okay, we have some really great projects. These are free downloadable patterns from Accuquilt.com. This one, we just took squares and smaller squares and made these super fun they're called what are they called? Peace sign snack mats.
How cute is
this one? Halloween all over it, right? And this one, these are our go colors. Look at how fun this is.
Oh, how fun.
And these would be super fast and easy to make. Look, we just did straight stitching on them. They just have solid backgrounds. But whoever was asking, this is for you. This is called the Pretty Mini Quilt. Look at this.
Okay.
She did exactly what you said. She took the peace sign and turned them 90 degrees and 90 degrees. And when you do it, it makes this square. It makes a secondary pattern through all of the rings. Wow. And this would be such an easy, fast weekend project. And again, just find your bright fabrics, cut them all up out of peace signs and sew them together. Wow. Isn't this stunning? And the great thing about this was it was just a 100% applique project, and then we just quilted it at an angle and added a binding.
That looks like a kaleidoscope.
I know. Let's see. Oh, Missy Shepler did this. She's so great. All right. So these are free patterns available at Accuquilt.com. Check them out. Thanks for asking about that. That is a great idea.
It's a really great one.
All right, here we go. Slide, don't lift, because it is staticky and snowing. Oh, man.
And it was 73 degrees this weekend.
It was so beautiful. It was so beautiful. All right, now what I'm going to do, now that my strips are cut perfectly, I am going to line them up right here at 90 degrees. This is a slick trick.
Sure is.
All right, line them up here at 90 degrees. And I also just want to cut some 1.5 inch strips that I'm going to show you how to make cornerstones out of. All right? Remember, our dies are only going to cut where there's fabric in a mat. It doesn't hurt anything to just not, to use a big mat and not have all the fabric covered.
Exactly.
All right, Emily, tell us what people are making.
Yes. Okay, Colleen wore leg warmers.
Oh, yes.
I still have a couple of
I
pairs
wore
of
leg
those.
warmers for no apparent reason,
They're
other
so
than they were super trendy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and I love them, to be honest. When working from home on a cold day with some fuzzy socks and leg warmers on, it's like,
Yeah.
there's nothing better.
Yeah. All right, give us some love. Slide, don't lift. All right,
Okay.
now look at this, quilters. Ta-da!
Aw.
I have perfect sashing. This is my favorite trick to make rectangles because it is really hard to cut strips and then turn them at 90 degrees to make rectangles. Now, with this piece right here, I need to make the little cornerstones right here,
Oh, sure.
right? Look at this, Emily.
Oh, are you going to use the 90-degree one
Yes.
again? Oh, look at you go.
And then I'm gonna cut squares. This is called Strip Die Magic. We have lots of videos on our Facebook page and our YouTube channels on how to cut strips and squares. Strip Die Magic. All right, now I don't wanna use my big mat, so I'm just gonna use my smaller mat because I'm using my Go Big, $200 off today. Save $200. I can turn it, this mat, because it's wider than our Go fabric cutter.
And this is why I tell folks, when they'll call into customer service quite often and say, what's a great first thing to buy? What do I start with? What are the first dies? I always say strip cutters are the first way to go because they do so much.
All the time.
Case in point.
Yeah, because look at now, I have all my pieces, and I just think it's so great to just have those little extra pieces there.
100%.
All right. Ta-da. Now, I'm going to give you a little tip. The reason I appliqued my peace sign on first before I sewed my block is because if it didn't work right, then all I have to do is cut a 6.5 inch square.
Sure.
If I put it on my block and it's wonky, then I have to make the whole block. I know, it's my little pro tip, all right?
That's very smart.
Ask me how I know, because that's how I know. All right, now quilters ask all the time, why is an Accuquilt fabric cutter better than rotary cutting? You would definitely need a template to cut out your peace sign. It would never be as accurate as cutting with a die. First of all, that circle, but especially since the shape has that inside section to cut out, you would probably have to take an X-Acto knife or something to cut that shape out. So think about that with Accuquilt. All of our applique shapes are perfect just like that. And it allows you to get that accurate shape every single time. Okay, so don't forget 40% off dies, cubes, and cutters. So Emily, what should people be looking at today?
Absolutely. Well, if they're wanting to make today's project with these two strip cutters, the 1 inch finished is actually going to go down to $65.99.
Okay.
The
6.5?
or sorry, 6 inch finish. Sorry, I should have said comes down to $59.99. And the 1 inch, is 65. So that would be a really great, because that 1 inch will cut 5 whole strips on the die.
It does, and they're just fabulous.
They really are.
And I'm going to tell you, strip dies, I have collections of strip dies because sometimes I use wide borders, sometimes I'm making squares, sometimes I'm doing sashing. It just is so much easier than trying to cut, okay?
Absolutely.
So use that code. What's the March 40?
The code March 40
Yep.
today. Yes.
And if you're looking to get a Go Big electric fabric cutter, which you should have, use that code SAVE200. It's part of March Machine Madness. Look, we have a cute little video or graphic down there. March Machine Madness. Don't forget, I'm giving away one of our Go Peace signs today. Be sure and register for future events on the Accuquilt event page for your chance to win. All right, so let me talk about sashing and cornerstones because this is really, really fun.
Sure.
All right, the first thing I'm going to do is I am going to add my sashing to either side, and then I'm going to show you how to add the cornerstones. Okay, oh, here, we'll start with cornerstones first, sorry. I was reading my text. All right, now I need 4 purple sashings with cornerstones. Again, you know how I love to chain piece. My favorite thing. All right, and I'm going to move this out of my way.
Perfect.
All right. I did get quite a bit of sewing done while I watched basketball, though, Emily, which was good.
Oh, good.
Yeah, I had quite a bit to do.
I was excited. I've cut 160 shapes so far out of this quilt that I've started.
I'm thinking that's awesome.
I'm very excited. Yeah, I get to use my new Ohio Star die, which is a big old 12-inch finished block, so that'll come together really, really quickly.
It will be, and I love 12-inch blocks because sometimes I'm just looking for a real fast, easy project.
Yeah.
And they're just great because they're make those nice big blocks.
I can't wait. Yeah.
All right, Emily, while I sew, first, do we have questions?
Actually, it sounds like we're smooth sailing on questions
loving
right now,
that.
but
Here,
we've
I
got
need my
some
scissors.
really great, some really fun more answers about
Yes,
what
let's
was
hear.
vintage. Yeah, hip huggers. Mary would like to wear something like that now, since everything is probably a lot more high cut now with jeans. The shoes she wore with her bell bottoms. Okay, Helena says she wore white buck shoes as a teenager. What are buck shoes?
I have no idea what white buck shoes are.
Like white buckle shoes, maybe?
I don't know. Maybe they were boots.
I know that could be it. Sue says she wore her white boots as well. So
I wore white boots forever.
Did you?
Yeah. And I lived in Seattle where it rained all the time. Those white boots, man, I was forever cleaning those white boots because they were muddy all the time.
My mom wore, what were they? Oh, saddle shoes.
Saddle shoes,
That
yeah.
was what my mom
those
grew
are
up
like
with.
from the 50s.
Yep.
Right?
Yep. She loved those saddle shoes. She actually kept them for years and years and years. I think she might still have them in storage somewhere just because they're so fun.
Right. I was married in 1985 where every woman who was married in 1985 wore hats.
Oh, cool.
And it has a long veil. And I have it, and Oakley loves to wear it because it has a long veil off of it.
Oh, I love
Yeah, hats and veils.
So cool. Oh my gosh, fringe jackets.
Oh, fringe. I forgot about fringe.
Fringe is so fun.
I love it.
You can't be in a bad mood when
Brock
you're wearing
wears a hat every day. Has nothing to do with retro. Okay, now here's my sashing with cornerstones. I'm reliving my teenage years. Fringe, okay, this is really gonna date me. When I was a kid, David Cassidy was the teenage heartthrob of the time. And look, see, I wondered if I'd sewn that right, and I did not. So I saved my babysitting money and made my dad take me. It was my very first concert. I was probably 11, 12 years old. Mm-hmm. And we went to see David Cassidy, and he came out on the stage in this white jumpsuit that had fringe that, hung 4 feet, off of his jumpsuit, and we just all screamed because it was the most amazing thing ever.
Oh, how fun.
I know. Those things you remember. Fringe. Oh, love it.
I love that.
Okay, that's a great sci-fi show, by the way. If you haven't ever watched it, it's a good show. Yeah, I don't know where it's on anymore, but we watched it back in the day. All right, notice I am pressing my cornerstones away from my sashing. Let's talk about quilting here for a hot minute. And I'm pressing it away because when I come to add the pink, I'm going to press it to the white. Then my seams will nest.
Gotta love a good nesting seam.
I do love a good nesting seam. All right, here we go. I'm going to lay it on my pieces. This is so great. And again, look how fast. You could do it in an afternoon. I did. All right. Now, I'm going to add my pink sashing first.
Okay.
And then when I come to the other side, it will have the space for the cornerstones.
Perfect.
I know. And we're going to talk about sashing today, because I know lots of the projects we've done lately have had sashing on them, and there's been some question about that. All right, Emily, while I'm sewing.
Yes. Pedal pushers, says Catherine. Do you remember pedal pushers?
Oh, yeah. I didn't ever wear those.
I've never worn them either, but my mom definitely has worn.
My mom did.
She's spoken about that before.
Though my mom, she was like 5 foot nothing. So pedal pushers, they're kind of like capri pants.
Sure, yeah.
They were not capris on her because she was so little. She was tiny.
So cropped.
Yeah, they were just pants on my mom.
Love that. Oh my gosh. Oh, Carolyn wore jumpsuits.
Oh, yeah.
I love a good jumpsuit.
Yeah. All right, now I'm going to add the pink to the other side.
Yeah, this was actually how I had to do my twirling petal quilt that you helped me with.
Oh, yes?
To do the sashing, yes. And I had to remember, okay, Emily, do the short sides first and then do the long sides with the...
Yes.
I almost did
There's
it wrong.
a process.
There's a method
There's
to
a
the
process.
madness.
Yeah. I actually wrote this pattern, and Joe this morning found an error in it for me, and thanks to Joe. I wrote it, and then I didn't read the final version of it, which was my fault, but it is correct now on the pattern.
Well, and it's tricky when you're walking step by step by step when you've done it a million times yourself.
Well, I want you to know it's really very stressful to write patterns, because so many times I have looked at patterns and thought, that isn't right. And then I have to, go in and fix, other people's patterns kind of thing. All right, now I'm going to just press towards the white. Does this not look like Easter and spring, even though it's snowing outside?
It really does. Yes, we've got springtime in here in the studio, and that's all that matters.
That's right. Yeah, it was actually nice enough this weekend. Ray took down the Christmas lights.
Really?
Tell you how long it's been at our house. He does not he goes up there by himself. I do not help with that task. And if there's any kind of wind, he does not get on the roof, which I am grateful for.
Well, that's good, yeah.
Okay.
Can't have any National Lampoon's incidents.
Something, right? When Mason's home, he and Emily often get on the roof and take pictures, because the lighting on the roof apparently is awesome.
Wow.
All right, so here we go. All right, now I'm going to add my other sashing. All right, and because I pressed in opposite directions, these are going to nest perfectly. And look how perfect it all came together, because I cut them with a die.
Wow.
It is truly the only way.
It really is.
The other day I saw a pattern, Emily, this is a true story. I was at a quilt shop and I saw a pattern and I thought, oh man, that is really pretty. And I really wanted to make it. And in my quilting head, I could not adapt it to a die. And I was like, oh well, there were just way too many pieces to cut out.
You know, I did the same. My mom sent me a photo of one and I thought, oh my gosh, this would be so cool to make. And then I said, well, this pattern isn't written for dies, so
yeah.
Sorry, not sorry.
Yeah, sorry. Sorry about that.
Oh gosh, but it does though. I mean, it makes such a huge difference. I mean, I couldn't imagine cutting. I mean, I would be horrible at just cutting like squares and triangles, let alone these, these beautiful applique shapes.
Half square triangles, because at Accuquilt, we cut those dog ears off.
Yes.
And you, who were smart enough to never have started quilting until you could cut it with a die, don't know how difficult it really is to cut half square triangles with a rotary cutter. It's just ludicrous.
Absolutely.
All right, do we have other things that people were wearing? I'm just going to be all nostalgic today. It's going to be great.
Yes. Let's see. Theta wore white sneakers with an industrial zipper in the front.
Oh, man.
Zip-up sneakers. Those
yes.
Great. Let's see. Karen stuck with granny dresses and hip hugger hand-embroidered bell bottoms.
I love it. I love it.
Oh, that would be really cool to wear some embroidered bell bottoms.
I also wore blue jeans with holes in them, much to my father's dismay. He said to me, I'll never forget this. He said, Did you pay full price for those, or did they give you a discount?
Oh yeah, half off for the
'Cause
fabric.
there was fabric missing, you know, there were holes in it. He's pretty funny. He watches your show. Hey, Dad.
I love that.
Yep.
Yeah, hi, Mom and Dad. They
He
usually
lives in a retirement center, and I told him, I said, they were looking for activities. And I said, okay, Wednesday, 12 noon Central Time.
Yeah.
Get you and all your peeps. And
Tune in, say hi.
yeah, we talk about cool stuff.
Oh my gosh, I love that.
So, I know.
Oh, this was a fun one. This brings me back. Christina says, yarn bows on my pigtails.
Oh, pigtails, yes.
Pigtails were super hip.
Yes. I never had yarn bows, though. Isn't that interesting?
Really? I could totally see you rocking some yarn bows.
I don't know. I had waist length hair until I was 10. And then I cut it all off.
Oh my gosh, Jennifer says stirrup pants.
Oh my gosh. I totally forgot about stirrup pants. Oh my, yes.
Yes.
Okay, look at this. Look at how much we've done today while we've reminisced of our
I know, right?
teenage years. All right, so I'm going to just press this open so you can see, and then we're going to talk about, I just burned my finger there because I was not watching what I was doing. We're going to talk about sashing because there's a little bit of question about how to add setting triangles with sashing.
Sure.
And we are going to debunk all the questions today. Look at that. All right. I love this one that I made because Oakley was over when I was making it. And I let her give me the sashing strips. We had a whole conversation about sashing and such. And so I sewed them together, and then she laid out the pattern, or she laid out the blocks. Okay, and so can we get a shot of it, guys? Thanks, because there's something. So Emily, I want you to look at this and tell me about these sashing blocks. What's different? Can you see?
These sashing.
Oh, here, I'll hold it up. Can I hold it up?
Well, it looks like, these are set on point versus
Right.
the sashing.
So the pink and the purple, is there something different?
And the purple, is there something different? Well, they're switched
Yes.
on the middle block.
Right. Which is how Oakley wanted it.
Oh.
And I said, why is that? And she goes, then it creates a pattern. It goes to pink and to purple and to pink and to purple, which I thought the perspective of a 7-year-old is very different than mine.
Oh my gosh.
And so when I sewed it together just like that because she was adamant about, they must be learning about patterns and stuff at school, you know, like in math and stuff. I was like, okay. Okay, let's talk about this real quick. I'm gonna get one of my blocks here. Get all of my ironing away. Turn off my iron. And don't forget, all of our videos live on our Facebook and YouTube pages. So if you need to go back and watch one, you can, including this one. And Emily, while you get everything ready, do you want to talk about our blog?
I would love to. Yeah, we have a fabulous blog, so it's a great way to have access to exclusive patterns that our go-getters write for us, as well as some Accuquilt staff as well. Right now on the blog, we've got Black Barns Bourbon and Bluegrass quilt tutorial, which will show you how to make that schoolhouse block, but with all different 5-inch finished squares, like in the actual barn itself.
Yes,
it's so creative.
We talked about it yesterday on our Wednesday or Tuesday event.
Unbelievable.
That schoolhouse dye, we have talked about how so many times and what a great dye that is.
It really
finishes to a 9-inch block. Okay, now I want to talk about this, and I'm going to pull this over here so we can look at this. All right. Now, sometimes in our projects, we have sashing that goes from one end to the other, like this. All right. So sashing from one end to the other, like this. All right, if sashing goes all the way across the piece, then it doesn't affect the setting triangle size.
Sure.
Okay, but these blocks I added sashing to make the block bigger. So Emily, how big is the block now that I've added 1 inch finished?
To the 6-inch square,
Yes,
correct?
to the
So that's-
6-inch square.
So that'd be a total of 7.
7, 8.
Oh, 8. Oh my gosh.
So
Emily.
I used 8-inch setting triangles.
Perfect.
Do some math, quilters, all right? Because if the sashing went all the way through, right, it didn't make the center square bigger, it would still be the 6-inch square.
Right.
So you would use the 6-inch setting triangles.
Perfect.
But because I made that square bigger, now we're gonna need the 8-inch setting triangles.
Yes, and that's part of our
I know,
sale today.
I love setting triangles. And it took me a few minutes to figure out, now how do we figure that out? But that's how we do it. So the last thing we need is our 8-inch setting triangles. And I'm gonna cut some. Ooh, I'm gonna move this so it doesn't. My allergies have been terrible. Have yours been terrible?
Yeah,
Emily?
100%. Yeah.
Just so bad.
Gotta love that back and forth with winter and spring.
Yeah, that winter and spring when it's 75 and snowing.
Exactly.
The next day. All right, oh, here, sorry.
And
I
speaking
was
of this
just gonna,
dye,
I was gonna,
it's on sale today.
how much is this dye on sale?
$65.99.
Excellent. It has the side triangles and the corner triangles because setting triangles, you have to do math. And I'm just not gonna do that. So Accuquilt did all the math for us. All right, I'm gonna lay my fabric down. I loved this fabric. I thought it was so fun and bright and beautiful.
Super cool.
All right, and
Very
again,
vintage.
we're using our Go Big. It's part of that Save 200 March Machine Madness. Get you a Go Big.
You sure can.
All right, Emily.
All right, looks like we've got some more takers. So Ruth, Peggy, love their mini skirts. Okay, Lynn loved ruffled belly tops in all colors.
Ruffled belly tops.
Ones with like the little ruffles at the
Yes.
bottom that were so
I
cute.
totally forgot about those.
Oh my God, I love it.
Slide don't lift. Oh man.
And striped knee socks.
Striped knee socks forever.
Like
I
your
wore
mini
those.
skirt and your knee socks. Oh my God.
Oh my, yes.
That makes me so happy.
Yes. All right. Okay, so now let's lay out our project and I'm gonna sew a couple together because we have plenty of time today. I only had to pull out one little seam today. Was it last week that I had to pull out
Like a whole row?
thing, a whole row? Jiminy. All right, here we go. All right. Here we go.
That's why our seam rippers are, at least they're my best friend at home.
Right. All right. Now, here are the corners, which are going to fit right here.
They are.
And here are those sides.
Ooh, we've got a lot of people wanting to know what fabric you're using, Pam.
I don't know. It came from my stash. I've had it for a while.
Okay.
And then these are just Kona solids. I don't know where this fabric came from. And I don't have a, oh, here, wait. Let me see.
Maybe there's a line.
It's Keepsake Calico. is the-
Keepsake calico.
Yeah.
All right.
I don't know where I got it, but I love it. All right. And now over here, we're going to need another side triangle because this is just super fast. Look at this. And then we need another setting triangle, the sides.
And that just makes everything pop as soon as you add those triangles.
It does.
Gosh.
All right, so I'm going to show you how to sew the rows together because there is an order. Start here on the outside. Look how that's going to run together perfectly because we cut our squares perfectly. I'm going to turn my iron back on.
And Karen, while we're doing this, can we talk about storing strip dies? The
Yes,
best
let's
way
do.
to store them.
You want to store them on their side. I store them on the short side
Sure.
against a bookshelf.
Yeah.
And then here's what I did at home. Because sometimes I can't see that far. I have to turn and look. I wrote with a magic marker on the top what it was.
Perfect.
1.5 inch strip. I just,
And so
yeah.
on and so forth.
Yeah, and so on and so forth. Grandmother's fan.
Love that.
Setting triangles. Yeah, that's what you want. All right. So
Speaking-
store them like that. Don't lay them one on top of each other. The weight of them are going to damage the blades.
Exactly. Yeah, they'll kind of smush each other. The higher the pile of dies.
Right.
And speaking of the setting triangle,
Okay.
Marion's wondering, the small triangle is not on the straight of grain. Why is that?
The small triangle. It is on the straight of grain.
It is.
Hang on one second. I'll show you. When I laid my fabric down, I laid down straight of grain.
Yeah, 'cause you always do
Because it's going to come here at the corner. Okay. Look here. Lengthwise grain, straight of grain. This is right here. This is the straight of grain. This is the corner. And then here's the sides.
Yes. Okay, perfect.
Yeah, good question.
Thank you.
Because if you try to sew stuff on the non-straight of grain, it's just going to be all the wonkiness.
Right.
And that will make you cranky.
Well, and that's why the setting triangle dies are so great, because they're set up so that lengthwise grain, the way that you sew it, it's just going to come together without
Right.
stretching.
And I have to tell you, that's one of my big confessions in life, is that before Accuquilt had setting triangles, I just did them willy-nilly. I just cut a square that was big enough, I thought, and I just trimmed it off and hacked it off, and I didn't care about lengthwise grain. And I very seldom made projects that had setting triangles or put them on point because it was just too hard.
Yeah.
Okay, so now I've done my first corner, and now I can do, this is the side triangle, and then this is the other corner. Okay, so I'm gonna press towards the triangles.
Okay.
And yes, last week somebody asked us a really important question about how did I know which way to press? And I'm going to tell you, if you get squares, I always press to the dark side because I want those squares to nest, those rows to nest.
Sure.
But in every single pattern, it will tell you how to press your fabric.
Yes.
Make sure that you're reading those, patterns. Download them. They're free at accuquilt.com. Okay.
Yeah.
But that was a really good question about pressing.
Absolutely.
All right. Look at this. Okay. And now I'm going to add this one. All right. And then you would continue with the row. So I'll do these last two pieces and then we'll sew that row together. All right, Emily, do we have questions before we talk about what we wore when we were teenagers?
Yeah, I'm just looking here. I'm actually not seeing that we have any questions right now. I think we're smooth sailing for now.
We're smooth sailing. That's what we like to hear.
But Miss Barbara says that she wore a beaded choker with a peace sign in the center on a leather cord.
Chokers were a big thing for a long time.
They really, really.
I had ribbon chokers that I wore, which I think were really fun.
And that's come back too now.
Oakley has some chokers that she wears.
Really?
Yeah. I noticed that the other day.
And it looks like, okay, we do actually have a couple of questions. How do you know what size of setting triangles you'll need?
Whatever size the finished block is, that's the size setting triangle. Remember, we measured our block, it finished to 8 inches. Now we're going to use the 8-inch setting triangles. All right, now I'm going to sew this piece to this piece, and then I'll show you how it lays out. It's just so fast, quilters. That's the thing. We cut it so fast and accurately, it gives us all the time to do what we love to do, and that's the sewing part. I do love to sew.
Amen to that.
Yeah, I just really love to sit down, and I would not consider myself, my kids are super creative, they can draw and, do all this stuff. But I can sit down with a quilt block and just have the best time ever.
Exactly.
And feel creative about it.
And it's great that you can do it, it's the perfect rainy day. I mean, look at this afternoon with all the snow, this is what I'm doing tonight, is cutting fabric and sewing.
Somebody said that on their post this morning, it's really cold, so I'm just going to sit and sew.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to press this out, and then I'm going to show you how I'm going to lay this down. All right?
We actually had somebody wondering, too, if you finish all the projects that we start on the show.
Oh, yeah, that's a great question. The answer is yes.
Yeah.
I'm a little OCD about that kind of stuff. So I try to make projects that I know that I like that I would finish making.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Which is kind of fun. Sometimes we just sew blocks together and we keep those blocks because we have other shows that we can use them on.
Yeah.
Right? Okay,
Nice
look.
examples. Oh, look at that.
Okay, I'm going to sew this one little row together and then we'll be done.
Hooray.
And again, think of how fast I sewed this together. I could have done it much faster had I not been reminiscing about my childhood, which was fun. I think it also depends on where you grew up. You know, I grew up in Seattle, which was a pretty kind of liberal place to grow up. And so, okay.
Let's see.
I'm gonna match my seams here. All right, Emily, do we have a couple more of what people wore?
Yes, we surely do. Let's see. We have clogs, says Julie. Do you remember clogs?
Oh, clogs, yes, yes.
And I've never heard of these. Have you ever heard of yo-yo shoes?
No.
Tina says she wore yo-yo shoes.
You know what, we'll have to Google it
I
later.
want to know what those are. They sound like fun, though.
It does.
Oh, Christina says she wore disco socks.
She did what?
She wore disco socks.
Oh, look. My bobbin ran out.
Oh,
It's okay.
well, that's all right.
Here I was sewing it. I was all happy to sew it to you. It's okay. I will fix my bobbin later. All right, and then you would add the rest of your triangles here. Let's show you how to finish it. Go home and finish this, folks.
Yay. You can see how perfectly that's just coming together, and
Gosh, it's just great. That makes me angry that my bobbin just broke. If it's not one thing, it's another, right? Oh my goodness.
joys of live TV, right?
There you go. Look at that. All right. Now, the reason I created this pattern is because it is the perfect blank template for a table runner, okay?
Yeah.
So Emily, we talked about this earlier. You could make it for all the different seasons. You could add things. You could use our puppy, this is our Scotty dog
Yes.
dye. So you could do black and white check with red accents. Wouldn't that be cute? We have some super cute for embroidery for our Scotty dog.
We do, and that dye is on sale for $20.39 today.
Perfect. And here's our kitty cat, our calico cat.
Love that.
She's also on sale.
Yeah, 20
Yes.
and some change. That's
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
Northwoods Medley, one of my all-time favorite dyes. In my head, I see this in plaids and flannels.
Oh yeah.
Right, for fall and winter to kind of snug in. And again, free embroidery files for that.
Yes. Today.
Summer is coming.
Yes.
Totally do Sea Life Medley.
Yes.
Wouldn't
that's
that
my
be so fun?
favorites.
And okay, the thing about this is, could you add more blocks to it? Of course you could.
Yeah.
Just add more fabric and do a little math in your head. Make sure you have those 8-inch studding triangles. But this one would be super fun for like a beach theme, or if you're having a beach party or those kind of things. So again, all of these come with free embroidery downloads. How much is our Sea Life Medley and our Northwoods Medley?
Okay, they're both $41.99.
Great day to get them.
Yeah.
Great day to get them. All right. Don't forget we have a special event Friday, 12 noon Central Time. But you can join Eric and I on Tuesday, March 29th at 12 noon Central Time as we get ready for spring with some really fun English paper piecing projects.
Yeah.
How much is that EPP cube today?
Cube, same price as the 12-inch, $185.99.
So if you're thinking, oh, I've always wanted to try English paper piecing and you didn't have that cube, today is a perfect day to get it.
Absolutely.
Register in the link for the chance to win prizes. Don't forget 40% off dies, cubes, and cutters. Use that code MARCH40. All right, so in the checkout, make sure you're using MARCH40. You can only use one promo. If you're looking to get the Go Big, use the code SAVE200. $200 off our Go Big cutter. All right, Emily, let's announce our winner for today's Accuquilt Live.
Fabulous. All right, today's winner is Annette Yamamoto of Noblesville, Indiana.
Congratulations, Annette.
Yay!
You're going to send you a peace sign die. Be sure and share your projects with us. Now, be sure to join us next week for Accuquilt Live as we get ready for spring and Easter with some super fun projects. We're going to use the Go Face Mask die to make some really fun Easter face masks.
Yeah, the eye mask.
Yeah, how much is it?
It's actually part of the sale today. You can get it for $30 and change.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So you want to get that eye mask die and the 12-inch cube, which Emily talked about earlier. Be sure to register for the events for the chance to win prizes. All right, huge shout out to our Accuquilt Live team today. Offset, we have Katie and Morgan, and is Lauren still helping us?
She is.
Thank you, Lauren. In the Dream Studio, I have Brock and Joe, and we have Greg here today. He's helping out, and my good friend Emily. I'm Pam Heller reminding you at Accuquilt, we help you cut time so you can quilt more. We'll see you later.